to Wit Happens. Another sit down with somebody that I absolutely love. He doesn't know this, but I saw him for the first time, probably 40 years ago, maybe.
Sounds
Dennis
right.
Blair
Sounds
is in
right.
the house. Dennis Blair
Well, there
is
goes my
in
cover.
the house.
Yeah. I got to stop telling people I'm 39 now, just like Jack Benny.
Well, see,
All right.
I was about 5.
We could edit that out, right?
Yeah, we can edit that out.
Okay,
Rich,
good.
get that. No, Dennis, I think a lot of people watching know you. I think a lot of people know Dennis Blair, and they say, where do I know him from? I know him from, there are a million things that you know him from, and we'll get to that. But I got to see George Carlin many, many years ago because my brothers were huge fans. Mm-hmm. And one of my brothers actually said that he said he's got this really funny opening act. I mean, now, keep in mind, I was, probably 18 or 19. And to this day, I remember my brother saying that. He has a really cool opening act. He's a really good guy. Because I often think that opening acts are even better than headliners. This was a long time ago. But you got me then, and you've kept me since. You opened for George for a long time.
Almost 20 years. Yeah.
How?
I kept going, I don't know.
How did that happen? I mean, how did it happen
You're asking
initially?
the wrong guy.
I know. Carla,
I would
ask George.
I think when I was with him for 10 years, I was watching him on the side of the stage and going, when are they going to realize that they should let me go?
No.
No, it's just like, because, know, I mean, everything was going fine, but, the typical comic insecurities. Like, he does know I'm still opening for him, right? I know.
Does he know me? He knows me, right?
Yeah,
How did it happen? How did you wind up working with him for that long? I mean, was it that story where he saw you and said, hey?
Well, I was opening. My specialty had become by that point opener for headliners. Okay. Especially comics.
Yeah.
Because I would do comedy, but music. So, so Rodney was the first one. Dangerfield was the first. Then from that we went to Joan. Yes. And then I got a really great agent who just call me every week and go, hey, you want to open up for Gloria Estefan? And what am I going to say? No. I have things to do. So I did her for a month, and then there'd be one-nighters with different big stars. Yeah. So I became this opening act kind of guy. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he called me. His name was Fred Suss. He said, hey, you want to open for George Carlin for 3 months? And I said, let me think about it. Yes, I do.
Exactly. Yeah. Hold on, honey.
And they must have seen a tape of me somewhere, maybe on a TV show or something. And
there were, I remember at one time, my dad was in the business, and I would watch a lot of things from backstage. And I remember at one time there was Dennis Blair and Tom Dreesen.
Oh yeah.
And who were, you're hilarious comics. It's so amazing at what you did, but that was it. And I remember thinking just that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I want to open. I want to be a comedian, but I want to open for these people. Mm-hmm. And over time, I got lucky enough to open for some of them. But I mean, you know.
Well, you were too good to remain an opening act.
Yes,
that was the problem.
That's what I keep telling myself.
You kept getting to get too many laughs. You can be a guy like me, where I just temper it. I get just enough laughs that I need to keep the gig.
Right. Yeah. No, I think you did pretty well. Now, so we'll circle back. But right now you're working with Barry Manilow.
Right. Yeah. And again, that's you can't plan these things. They see you somewhere and they talk to you, and then that's what happened with him. I think it was at what's the name of the theater? The place where Elvis used to work.
Over at now the Westgate. But the old International.
And they were trying to do comedy over there, and I was the headliner that night. Yeah. And Larry Amorose, who was our old friend, who's kind of an assistant with Barry.
Yeah.
Barry has a residency there, and he must have said, hey, let's go see my friend Dennis up in the room, and he came, and apparently I did well enough where he came backstage, and I hung out for about 10 minutes, and
I love that.
Very nice, and that was it. Didn't hear, it wasn't like, hey, you want to work for me? A month later, got a phone call. And,
I love that.
Yeah.
I think back, somebody asked me recently this question. I had to think about it. Now, I'm not this guy, but somebody asked me recently, they said, my on-air partner, actually, Mike, had said to me, when was it that you said, oh, I've made it? And he said, I don't mean where you really made it, but when you thought, oh,
this is what I should do. This is
I'm
what I
a
should be doing.
comedian now.
Yeah, right. What was that time
for me? And you're going to laugh, and you might be the only one that understands this. I was working in Sacramento.
Okay.
And we were talking about our old friend Scott Edwards, and I got my first paid a week-long gig, and I had a door on my room at the Comedy Condo. There was a door.
A door.
And I thought, I
made it.
Because oftentimes there was no door. There was a slider or something in the crap
You
condo.
got a door. Did you put a star on it?
Yes, and I thought, I made it. I have a week-long gig.
Yeah.
I'm pulling in, I think it was $250 or $300.
Nice.
Hello.
Yeah.
And that really did... For some reason, I thought I was just the shit because I had a door. It's like
My God, I never had a door.
See? Exactly.
Barry doesn't give me a door occasionally.
God.
I get a foot locker. That's about it.
Okay, but it closes, doesn't it? It closes.
But
wow. I was featuring, and I remember the headliner just smoked. Nonstop. And I should say his name, Randy Kagan, if you're out there, smoked constantly. And the fact that I could close my door, it was like, this
Excellent.
is
congratulations.
great. But thank you.
Yeah.
But once I started getting those, because we work so many one-nighters, once I started getting those week-long gigs a little more consistently, it was like this. That time where you finally, hey, maybe I should be doing this. Yes, exactly. It wasn't Conan, and it wasn't Evening at the Improv.
Right,
It was those little things.
The Door Club.
Yeah. Thank you. And any comedian that is watching will say, "Oh, yeah," because you didn't.
Once you get to the door phase, you have made it. I don't care what anybody says.
Thank you. What was it for you though? When did you say, I think this might work?
It was it was gradual in a way because I was a singer. Songwriter / cover working in bars, doing cover songs, and of course when you work in a bar, no one's really listening to you. And you're doing Billy Joel and James Taylor stuff, and I got offended one day because they were talking during my set. How dare they? I'm an artist. So I just had this. I went upstairs during a break, and I just the big song of the time was "Staying Alive," Bee Gees.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to write a parody. The hell, I got nothing else to do.
Right.
So I came up with this parody in the break, and I went back on stage, and I did like my James Taylor and my Carole King or whatever, and then I just started that. And people started, they were talking, and all of a sudden they went, hey, he's got the words wrong. That was the first reaction. And then the second reaction was, oh, that's kind of funny, actually. Do more of that, And I went, oh, they're listening.
I like that.
So that's how that started.
Right.
And at the same time, I was moving into Manhattan. And I was my apartment was going to be 4 blocks away from Dangerfields.
Okay.
And they said they had an open mic night, and I said, "Well, I'll go down there." Went down, and it was one of those things where I don't know. I really wasn't listening to the other acts, but apparently they weren't very good because no one was laughing or responding, and I don't know. I ventriloquism, whatever it was, So by the time I got on, I had developed enough of a presence that it went really well, and they immediately went, hey, you want to open for Jackie Mason next week? And so I go from being a singer to I'm opening for Jackie Mason, who is one of the funniest person you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And I did a week with him, and while I was on stage with him, Rodney came in. And apparently caught the end of my show and said, they obviously like what you do. What do you do? He hadn't caught I told him I do parodies and stuff. And he goes, I'll watch it. And he watched the show. And then from there, talk about timing. He had just done Caddyshack.
Oh, okay.
So he went from doing his club, which he couldn't afford. He said, they can't afford me anymore, my own club, to 3,000-seat theaters, and he took me out with him. So that's how it started.
Nice.
And you couldn't have written that.
That's great.
Ridiculous.
And I mean, it was funny because there was, at a time, I think with comics, I was here on the West Coast, and the scene was even different. I mean, I started much later, certainly, but the scene was very different. That East Coast and West Coast scene, they were both amazing, and they were both very unique. There was the on this end of the map, the Comedy Store and the Improv and all of that, and then on the other end of the map, there was your Carolines and
Catch a Rising Star,
and Catch,
comic strip.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I think it's safe to say you started out with a lot of some really cool comics.
Oh, yeah.
Some really cool comics that I'm sure you're still,
Still friends with most of them.
Yeah.
They do return my calls occasionally, so there you go.
Right.
So I must be doing something right.
Yeah, but you still have their numbers. See,
that's
good. It's still the same number,
do they still
right?
say numbers anymore?
Yeah, I know.
I have their speed dials on my phone.
I know. Or just Alexa.
Yeah, right.
Call George.
Could you call Billy? Could you call Billy? He's a comic. Billy/comic.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's always. It is interesting to me in where people get started, just as a comic, how people get started. I know so many people who, it was like, it was on a dare. I started doing song parodies, things like that, which led to, I hope you look at it and say, I've done okay. This kind of worked out.
I mean, I'm constantly going, I can't believe that this happened and I was able to stay in the industry, whatever you want to call it. Is it an industry?
Yes, I know. I'm in
the industry
business,
now, Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I was not joking about like I'd be with George Carlin for 10 years and go, how am I still here?
Oh my God.
I guess something's going right,
Yeah.
So,
though back to Rodney, I know, this is not just comedy and music and all of that. You helped him.
Yeah.
Didn't you help him write?
What happened? Like I'd been working with him now for 3 months, and he goes, "Listen, I just did Caddyshack." He's getting dressed. I mean, he's putting his black suit on. And he's just BSing with me and just goes, so they want to do a movie starring me. That's great, Rodney. He goes, yeah. So if you come up with an idea, let me know. No, I'm doing comedy 3 months.
For a movie?
I've just been singing in a bar in Long Island, and now he's going, so if you come up. So I ran home I went 4 blocks to my apartment and just started pacing that night and going, I got to come up with an idea. I got to come up with it. And I came up with the idea for Easy Money.
Yeah.
It didn't have a title yet, but he liked it.
Obviously, yeah.
So he gives it to his manager was a woman named Estelle Endler, and her husband was a writer. And P.J. O'Rourke was also a writer. Wow. And apparently they started writing a script. And Rodney calls me up and he goes, yeah, I just read the script for this thing. It's a piece of crap. I go, oh, really? He goes, yeah, I want you to take a look at it. So, okay. So I read it, and it was a first draft. I mean, obviously it needed some work. But I didn't say it was. I said, yeah. All I said to him was, yeah, it needs some work. He says, just what I thought. He told Estelle, whose husband was one of the writers, Dennis agrees with me. It's a piece of crap. Yeah, which I didn't know he was saying to her. I want you to be a writer on the movie. So he made me a writer on the movie. Both of those guys came to his house around the table and were glaring at me, and I didn't know why. But apparently they'd gotten the word that I thought their script was a piece of garbage.
Oh, God.
Oh, the stories I could tell.
Who's this kid? What do you mean?
Who's
the
idiot.
Kid? What does he think? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, my God.
2 weeks later, they realized I told them, I never said that, So. But these are the things that happen,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, you've had. Sometimes I don't think that comics. Somebody, listen. I'm small scale. I'm club comic. But somebody said to me just that too. It's like, do you recognize your success? I guess, but you said it earlier too. As I think any performers, oftentimes, I'm sure there are maybe not, but I'm sure there are times that even the biggest. Say, ugh,
Oh, yeah.
Like, Barry, am I
constantly.
getting the notes? Am I,
You have one bad show, too. It's like, that's it. I'm not
Yeah,
funny.
I'm done. Yeah. Oh, I'm done.
I should have, what made me think I could do this?
Right. Exactly. The guy that sits there, like this, it's like, well, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. There was a month when I was with Carlin, I had a month where all the audiences were not terrible.
Right.
But,
They weren't there.
And I called my wife and I said, I think my act expired.
No!
She goes, no, it didn't. I said, no, I'm not getting anything. And I would try to write new things and that wouldn't work. And then a month later, everything was okay again. But for a month, like having mediocre shows, it's like, what if I can still...
What am I doing? What am I doing?
Pack bookshelves or something like that. Yeah.
It does.
Because you always think, I'm a fraud. They got to realize I'm not funny.
Right.
Constant. Yeah.
I mean, I constantly. You have a great show, and It still doesn't matter. It's it's that constant. Oh, I should have done this. Or,
Right.
why didn't I? Man, I didn't.
Well, it's the reason
do
we
that.
get into it in the first place because of the insecurity anyway.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So if we thought, I mean, singers, they have it made. Like Rodney would say, "Oh, you sing it. You got a microphone and a stage, and you got an orchestra behind you.
There you go.
It's just,
yes.
Yeah, right.
My dad used to say too that like comedy, and he used to say, you go out there and you're naked. You're naked.
Right.
A singer, a band. You know what? They don't like the song you did. I'll do another song.
Another one. Yeah.
It's passive. It doesn't matter. But they have to focus on you, and you're basically naked when you're on stage as a comic.
I know.
And I remember that now. Every time I go on stage, it's like, oh dear God.
And you always remember the bad shows.
Yeah.
You never remember the good ones.
Please.
And they're out there.
No, they are out there. They definitely are.
And you immediately go, see, I was right. I'm no good.
Yeah, I suck. I've sucked all along. That's right. They figured it out. What am I doing?
That's why
What am
I don't sleep anymore.
I would imagine. I would hope that at this point in the game, you're good. You're good. Ron, I gave him the new song title as we were walking in: Funerals and Colonoscopies.
Funerals and Colonoscopies.
Because
that's a great title.
Where
like I'm not going to write that one for the next album. Funerals and Colonoscopies. I'll do it as Tom Waits. What's the funeral? You got the colonoscopy.
I was talking to I'm sure John Payton.
Sure.
It was a little while back, but we were saying that. It was everybody sitting in the green room. It's like, well, I had to have my knee replaced. Really, because I've got some arthritis and this and that. It's like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Where are the lines?
There's no line.
Where's the booze? What are we doing?
All of us, even if you're lucky and they've been pretty good for a long time, God or whoever it is goes, hey, I missed that guy. I got to give him some real stuff,
Yeah, I'm going to give you something.
Oh, God.
What do I want to do? It's okay. I said that when I saw you today, that you look younger than you did.
I bargains with the devil.
You do,
I have bargains with the devil.
I think we have to now,
Yes,
don't
we? Do. Yes, we do.
My God. Music. I had to get on... and I'll show you how to get on and check your music, Dennis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, please do, because I don't, I'm all over and I have no idea. And
No, I wanted to get on and see, because what have you released? Like
5 albums. But I started as a songwriter. That's what I was going to be.
Yeah.
That was my plan.
And you've done in like every genre. I know you've done country, pop, rock. I don't know if I've left anything out.
Well, there's one, and this friend of mine who I've known since grammar school. We always had this affection for Bobby Short and the American Songbook.
Yeah.
And we'd write songs in that style, like Cole Porterish kind of stuff. And I have a friend who had a studio here in Las Vegas, and he said, listen, why don't you get a trio together and come to my studio, and I won't charge you anything, and just pay the guys.
Yeah.
And great. And we wrote up these charts, and some of the best, it's Vegas. They had some of the best players.
Yeah.
A guy named Joey Singer, who used to be Derry Reynolds.
Yeah, I know Joey.
And
God,
Bob Sachs, and
wow.
And so we just did it. And so that was another genre that people didn't expect,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
but
nice.
I just do it for fun because it's impossible to make it in the music business unless you're young and look good in a dance skin.
Yeah, I know. And your name is Lizzo. And I know. Or
T-Pain.
Yes, that's
T-Pain Denny. That's what I want to be.
I got your T-Pain right here.
Right.
But it's. I don't know though. I don't know if people. I'm telling you right now. Go to Spotify. Go to iTunes. You got a lot of music out there, and I like to see, like on iTunes, you can check and see like what are people listening to and what have people looked at and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. You'll have to write me a chart.
There's a thing, and it's an app.
Okay.
And
all right. Oh. What's that one of them you put that on the phone, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
The Catholic song. That song is really popular.
It is. Well, it's funny because if I said I had a minor hit, there's 2 songs that I have a minor hit with when I do Vegas and just do fooling around. They'll yell out, "Do the Catholic song," or my other one, which is "I Hate Everybody."
Yes, and I love that. Okay. I love that as well.
So there you go.
I want a piece of one of those. If you would do a little piece of one. Oh,
I can do those. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, because I perform those often enough that I can kind of semi-memorize them. So
I mentioned there's a favorite song of mine, being Italian, which has nothing to do with it at all, but Agave Maria was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And yes, I do know it.
Yeah,
and,
that was my lyric writer from grammar school who wrote that lyric, and I just put music to it.
Really?
Yeah. We still collaborate every once in a while, though not lately. But
I love that.
Yeah, and we found the studio in Nashville called Beard Music, and you go in there and you get the best musicians in Nashville, I guess, on their off days.
God, isn't
and
that
you hire
nice?
them, and they have this chart that the guy makes. You come in with a guitar and vocal. He makes a chart out of it. He gives it to these musicians. Within 30 minutes, you have a song.
God,
amazing.
You know, and what do you? I know you write your own music. I know you write your own stuff. What do you? Have you delved into AI at all? No.
I'm
talking to him about looking up his own music, so probably not. Okay.
I'm really big on AI.
Yeah, Carl. I
barely get out of bed. Let's put it that way. If I have a gig, I'll get out of bed, maybe. Sometimes they have to come to my house and just sit there and watch me from the bedroom. So no, I'm not into anything.
We changed the clocks, by the way. We moved them all forward. So Dennis would think it was later because when I said noon, he said, "What?
Is there a noon? What is this thing you talk about that is called noon?"
Yeah, I know. I know. And now this is late for me. What the heck?
Yeah,
but
I'm hopeless. Let's put it that way.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
Fine, I'll take your word for it.
But no, I mean, I'm looking. I'm reading. There's a band. Their name is escaping me at the moment. There's a band, and I had read something about them. I listened to. Oh gosh, Hurricane something. Forgive me. You'll look them up though. 4-piece band. Okay. They're doing. They did 2 albums in like 10 days. It's all AI. It's all AI.
Meaning what? They're not really playing? What does that mean?
They're not real people. They literally created this band.
That's so great.
I know.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I know. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but I do because I think that, yes, then I sound old. So
can I tell you something
me.
Right now? It's not me right here. I'm an AI figure.
Yes.
I was just lying to you right now.
Do you see?
Yeah. I'm really big on AI. This isn't my shirt. This is drawn on. So, here you go.
Boy, I was going to say, and if I am, make me look better, would you please? Jeez, give me something. No, but it frightens me because I think that a lot of, artistry, I guess, for lack of a better term, is going away.
Yeah,
I think it's just going away. Yeah. People they don't paint pictures anymore.
No, they think them up.
Yeah, they do. And then we'll get on the computer and we'll do this and we'll do that and look at that.
I heard Leonardo DiCaprio is not real, by the way.
I don't think he is anyhow.
No,
I don't think he
is. He can't be that handsome.
I don't. Yeah.
Right.
Now his 24-year-old girlfriend is, but yeah, Leonardo is not. Bill Belichick, keep it in
We
check.
don't need actors. We don't need those damn actors. What are you, crazy? What are you, out of your mind?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what the writers' strike was partly about. That's what the striking here in Vegas was partly about. You know, if you're bringing in this, that, and the other. But
the AI will write your book for you if you have a book.
Yes, it will. And, it will. Somebody smarter than me told me, well, you should start playing around with AI. You know, for what?
For what reason?
I mean, what for?
I'm already
for
I'm
radio,
already scrambling.
It's like I can't. And again, as a comic, every time I do anything, I don't even watch that much comedy anymore.
Right. Because
I don't want somebody saying, oh, you know what? I heard somebody else do something on drinking scotch. It's oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone else said, good night, you've been a great audience. Someone else said that.
Yeah. Yes.
Who was that guy?
I know.
Oh, yes, it was York 57. 57 York.
Yes.
So that's his name. It's my AI name.
You know AI, don't you?
Yes, I do. That's right. I'm an expert. I've been lying the whole time.
Well, it's, I mean, listen, religion has become very popular. again. And I was, I don't want to say I was raised Catholic because I really wasn't. My parents kind of moved away from it. I used to go with my grandmother because I loved the social hour afterwards.
Oh, okay.
We'd all go to breakfast,
The
and
cupcakes.
it was a ton of fun. There was bingo. It was fun.
Right.
My grandmother worked at the rectory and stole wine from the priests.
Of course.
She did.
She's going to hell.
Yes.
Or there already.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. She's
You'll have
having
someone
fun.
to visit.
She's
right.
Yes, exactly. I have my handbasket. But the Catholic song, can we get a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure.
Could we? Let's do it because I love this
By the way,
song.
I was an altar boy, so we have similar backgrounds.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I remember I forget where I was. It was in between, but as you get older, you start realizing, you leave the church for a while, and when you're young, and
Yeah.
I
don't need that.
Now, as you get 40s and 50s, you start going, maybe I should hedge my bets.
Yes. Yes,
and
I
that's
know.
And that's how that song came about.
I went to a funeral. Yeah. Recently.
Really?
Yes. And it was a
For
Catholic.
fun or just you knew the person?
It's a hobby now. I'm
Okay.
a funeral crasher. And it was a Catholic mass, and I thought, I immediately thought, okay. Well, it just all comes back to you.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
No.
It all comes back to
Yeah.
you. And I was actually very proud of myself. I really was.
Quick story about in the era of folk masses that was big for a while. I was the big guy in my church because I was a musician, blah blah singer, but they weren't folk music. They weren't really folk masses. The priest that I worked with was kind of into like rock and roll at the time,
right?
And we would do like Jefferson Airplane songs.
Oh, nice!
And the place was packed. The church was packed because people liked the song. We called communion halftime.
Yes, I love that.
We'd do like Bridge Over Troubled Water while people were getting communion.
Oh, nice!
And the priest, the first explanation that the priest had to give. Our opening song was the Jefferson Airplane song, and he had to explain what the song had to do with the mass. And he went. The theme of this morning's Mass is suffering. The opening hymn, White Rabbit. And people just went, what? And he'd have to make some sort of explanation.
Oh, my God.
But it would be packed because people like the music anyway. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is great. So it was like the precursor to Sister Act.
Exactly.
Basically,
there you go.
Right?
It was my first touch of fame. There you go.
That's
anyway.
awesome. That's
so this
awesome.
This is the Catholic song as far as I can. I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. I've been a lapsed one since I don't know when, but I seem to remember happier times then. I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Maybe I'll take in a high mass or two, try to join in on some hymns I once knew, 'cause it seems like it might be the right thing to do, and I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Look at the last verse. I lie awake late at night in my bed, thinking of people I'd like to see dead. But if I were Catholic, I'd love them instead. 'Cause I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. I've been a lapsed one since I don't know when, and I still have my card. I just need to sign in, 'cause I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Ave Maria, pass the sangria, 'cause I'm gonna be a Catholic again. Amen.
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
I love it.
For the other verses, go to iTunes.
God, yes,
the whole song.
That's right.
There's 2 or 3 other verses.
Oh my God! Also, I don't want to forget, you have a book out that is really good.
Oh yes,
really good.
It's called Touring with Legends.
Yeah.
Of all the people I've opened for, backstage stories and stuff.
That's
like
what
that.
I want to know. Is there one particular person that you worked with, one particular gig that just will forever stand out in your
so
mind?
many. I mean,
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Rodney was a trip. We just spent so much time together. I remember. Well, here's a Carlin story. 2. The first one was, I remember it went well.
Right.
And I was very happy because if it didn't go well, I wouldn't have gotten the gig.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm kind of feeling pretty good about myself. Yeah, and I go up and to watch Carlin. And he comes out with 10 minutes that I'd never heard before. I went from feeling really good about myself to like, I guess I better start working on my act because this guy... And then there was another one where he just came to me before the show and said, "Yeah, I just came up with this new bit, and it was the bit about modern man. I don't know if you know that."
Jeez.
And he recites it for me backstage, and it's like 5 minutes. And he goes, "What do you think?" It's amazing. He goes, "Oh, good, I'm going to open with it." He's going to open with it. All of us, we put a joke in the middle.
Yes, exactly. Let me put something here. Yes, to make sure that works.
Yeah, I mean, that's just 2 stories. I mean, there's so many with him, with Carlin and Joan and all that.
And, I had a friend, and I know we'll wrap this up, but I had a friend of my father's who was a musician who would always play whenever she came here, whenever she was in Reno or Tahoe, for Joan Rivers. And she was wonderful, and I was lucky enough to open for her a couple times. But I said, "How do you like that gig?" He said, "Oh, best gig ever. You know what? Anchors away. Yay, Joan's here." And then the end of the show, anchors away. Bye, Joan. He's like, there was nothing. And then at the end, she'd like wheel in the cart of booze, and she was just the best. There are people that really make it nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that George Carlin, we didn't talk too much about him, but I hope he made it good for you.
Everybody that I worked long term, I call it more than like a night or a week or something.
Right.
They were great. I mean, Rodney was great. He was not a happy man.
Right.
But that was his persona. That was real, But he was very good to me, to comics, Jen and Joe.
Yes.
He made so many comics,
Yes.
Joan was the same, like a den mother, You'd be sleeping. He didn't want to do things. You'd be in Tahoe, you'd be asleep because it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get up before noon, as you know. And the phone would ring at like 9:50 a.m. Hello? We're going on the boat. What? Who is this? It's me. We're going get down there in 10 minutes. They had Caesars had a yacht that they would rent out. So we had to get downstairs, and we all went water skiing. I mean, she just do stuff like that, crazy stuff, very, down to earth. And Carlin was, we hung out, for as much as you could. He was a recluse.
Yeah.
But when we did hang out, we had so much fun.
I love that.
We played horrifying games in the car, horrifying games. And
really?
I can't mention them on the.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know how much I can say on this show, but we come up with these premises.
Give us one. Give us one if you
sure?
can. Give us one. Yes.
Well, I can say this.
Yes, we can.
Who do you think has the bushiest pubic hair?
Oh my God!
It was like that.
Was it 80s?
No,
was it the 80s?
Can I tell you who he said? Rhea Perlman.
Oh, that's good.
He felt she had the bushiest. He had no proof. But that's
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
This is the kind of fun we would have on the road.
I love that. Yeah, but you were on the road. I mean, you guys, you were traveling by car, oftentimes.
And he was doing really well, so he got a Learjet, and I got to go on there a few times.
Nice,
so,
But I mean, listen, you got to kill the time.
Right. But those are the kind of, stories that, I tell in the book, and they're just wonderful.
Oh my, definitely read the book. Is the book audio by any chance?
No, it's not. I never got that far. I know, it was a small publishing company.
Do it, man.
All right.
Do it. Just for fun?
Yeah.
Why not? Because in your voice.
Maybe I'll call them up and say, can I do it?
Yeah, even better.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Even better.
Right.
Why not?
I'll have to check iTunes now. Since I've been here, I'm checking iTunes, and I'm going to audio book. Thanks for making me busy. I really appreciate that.
No, but you know what? Do it. Go to iTunes because all of your albums are on iTunes.
Yeah.
I know that you're working on Spotify as well.
Yes.
Get the book, and I don't want to screw up the name. Touring with Legends, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. All about
Touring with Legends.
All showbiz stories and. The stuff you don't see out front in the audience. That kind of thing.
Like the door. Like the door at the comedy
You
condo.
need to write yours. When are you going to write yours?
Yeah, one of these days.
Oh, come on.
One of these days.
Just make it. They don't. I wrote it, and I was like I said, no one knew who I was.
Right.
But you make it funny if you can. That's all.
No, but it's funny because the times we are living in, I think about that often. Mm-hmm. Who wants to read this? Or who's going to watch this?
If you make it funny, then
or who's going to right? Yeah, right. But then I see the Kardashians and people watch them, and I see so many things, and here's so many things. So there's something for everyone.
There you go.
so appreciate you joining me. I've only worked with you a couple of times. We see each other here and there,
right.
But I appreciate you. I've been a fan for a long, long time. So it's
back at you, my dear.
You're a sweetheart.
Back at Sin City.
Sin City Comedy Club.
Yes.
A shameless plug for a club that's not there anymore.
That's not there anymore.
But
that's
Kevin
what we do.
John,
we promote ourselves badly.
Yes, back in the day. Let me tell you something.
When Joey's Chuckle House, that was the best gig I ever had.
Oh my God! Yeah, Jeff Wayne just came to mind,
Oh,
and I know he's a friend of yours as well. One of the first one-nighters I did, and I've thanked him recently because there were a couple things I did where kids didn't cash, couldn't cash them. They were bad. And God love you, Jeff Wayne. Your check always cashed by God.
You got time for a quick Jeff Wayne story?
Yeah, please.
So I hooked up with him on a cruise. We were both doing a cruise, same different nights. And we're sitting there and in the cafeteria or whatever, and he goes, I mean, there's a lot of bad things out there, even the cruises sometimes, but you know what? We get to do what we like to do. We should be thankful, grateful about, our lives and stuff like that. It's a terrible business, of course, but we make people laugh and blah, blah, blah. And we get up from that conversation and we walk out and there's this line of people at the hamburger stand getting like cheeseburgers. And he goes right from we should be happy to is this how it ends? It's my favorite Jeff Wayne story.
I love him. He is such a good guy, such a good man. Look all these people up.
Yeah, they're all great.
Yeah, they really are. We are lucky. We really are lucky. Dennis Blair, thank you.
Thank you, Carla Rea.
I hope I see you again sooner rather than later.
I'm around.
So, and by the way, opening for Barry Manilow right now. When do you head back out with him?
July 11th through the 20th. We did it last month, and I mean, who knows if he'll keep going? Hopefully,
Yeah.
And we do these arenas, 15,000 people, and I'm sure they're all there to see me.
Yes,
that's another story for another time.
Yeah, well, whatever.
When they announce when the lights go down and and now here's a guy you don't know.
Yeah,
but they're nice. They're nice.
Settle down.
But I'm so used to being an opening act. We're used to that.
Yeah, no kidding.
The disappointment when we come walking in.
No, not at all. You are never a disappointment. Dennis Blair,
Thank
you
you.
Can see him with Barry Manilow.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll be seeing more of you. I know that you work Delirious. I know that you work a couple of the
Comedy Cellar.
clubs. Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
A lot of the clubs in town. So look him up.
Cool.
Listen to him. Read the book.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dennis Blair.
Thank you.
Wit Happens. I appreciate you guys very much. Thanks, gang.